If you're a successful professional and you've been struggling with alcohol for months or even years, and you've tried everything to get it under control, from going cold turkey to setting rules like just 2 glasses, to reading sobriety books, listening to podcasts, and going to therapy. Maybe you've even tried AA or been to rehab, but nothing seems to work. You manage to cut back for a few weeks or even a few months, but then something inside of you snaps and you start drinking again, and you slide back down that slippery slope and end up drinking as much, if not more, than before. You just can't seem to control it. You're constantly hungover at work, you're hardly getting anything done, and now you're terrified you might lose your job, or worse, your family. Then I want to show you a breakthrough recovery method that combines cutting-edge neuroscience with rapid subconscious rewiring to reset your brain's relationship with alcohol so you can get your drinking under control in the next 30 days, guaranteed. So if you don't feel 100% in control of your relationship with alcohol after just 30 days of working together, you don't pay. The results are completely guaranteed. And the best part is, we do all of this without relying on willpower, without cutting out your friends, family, or your social life, and without going to rehab or spending years in therapy. It's a powerful 4-step method that breaks the subconscious emotional patterns that makes alcohol feel necessary, so that your brain stops seeking out alcohol, making it effortless and automatic to stop drinking. Just like Victoria, for example, she had tried everything to stop drinking. She had white-knuckled through dry months only to binge afterward. She had tried therapy, apps, books, even medical intervention, but within 2 weeks of discovering this breakthrough method, she experienced what she calls a complete shift, where not drinking became completely effortless. She could walk past the wine aisle in the supermarket, be at parties and restaurants where others were drinking, all without wanting to drink, which could never have happened to her before. Or LH. After years of numbing himself with alcohol, he described himself as a lost, broken shell of a man. But within 3 weeks of this approach, he was completely reset. He lost all desire for alcohol instantly and hasn't had a drink since. It's been over a year now. Pretty incredible, right? That's how powerful this breakthrough method is. It works for anyone. It doesn't matter if you've been struggling with alcohol for months or decades. It's quick and predictable, and it's the best way to stop drinking and save your career, relationships, and health in the process. Take Sarah, for example, a high-achieving executive who had been drinking heavily every day for decades. She'd tried moderation, she'd tried quitting cold turkey, she'd promised her family 1,000 times she would change. Within 3 weeks of using this breakthrough method, she had completely stopped drinking, and she hasn't had a drink ever since. Just imagine you wake up and you actually feel good for the first time in months or years. You don't have a hangover, you don't have brain fog, you don't regret drinking too much last night. You're not thinking about alcohol at all. You just feel calm, happy, and relaxed. When your partner hugs you, it feels real again. There's no alcohol on your breath. There's no guilt between you. And at the end of the day, you go to bed knowing that you did what you'd said you'd do. No broken promises, no shame, just peace. It feels like a huge weight has been lifted. And it's all possible thanks to this revolutionary breakthrough method. And if you keep watching, I'll show you exactly what this revolutionary method is, including breaking new neuroscience research that proves the real driver behind your drinking has nothing to do with willpower or addiction or you being weak or broken, and why going cold turkey, AA meetings, and willpower-based challenges are actually reinforcing the neurological cycle that keeps you stuck, and how you can use this breakthrough method to finally stop drinking for good. In the next 30 days, guaranteed, or you don't pay. But first, let me introduce myself. Hi, my name is Sarah Kelt. You may recognize me from Woman Magazine or The Platform, where I've been featured for my groundbreaking work in alcohol recovery. I'm a board-certified clinical hypnotherapist and an advanced rapid transformational therapist, and the founder and CEO of Mindset Transformations, where I've spent the last 8 years developing the most comprehensive neuroscience-backed approach to alcohol recovery, a system built on the latest breakthroughs in neuroplasticity and subconscious reconstruction that's designed specifically for high-functioning professionals who haven't responded to conventional treatments. In total, I've helped over 1,500 professionals completely eliminate their dependence on alcohol with a 98% long-term success rate in an average turnaround time of just 30 days. No other practitioner or addiction specialist in the world has that kind of track record, not even close. But it wasn't always like this. Not long ago, I was a successful investment banker, working in the high-pressure environments of London and Dubai. And I was watching someone I loved slowly destroy themselves with alcohol. My family member was brilliant, accomplished, respected. Every night I watched them pour glass after glass, promising themselves and our family it would be different tomorrow, only to wake up filled with shame and start the cycle all over again. We tried everything. Interventions that ended in arguments and slammed doors, expensive therapy sessions that felt like talking in circles, even rehab programs that cost a fortune, but left them right back where they started within weeks. I felt so helpless watching this incredible person fade away and knowing that nothing we tried was actually working. It didn't seem fair. How could someone so intelligent and capable, so disciplined in the rest of their life with no other signs of addiction, but simply unable to control how much they were drinking? It didn't make any sense. So I started digging. I pulled apart everything I could to find out about addiction. Everything from neuroscience journals and brain imaging studies to clinical research on trauma and emotional regulation, to the latest breakthroughs in behavioral psychology. And what I discovered next shocked me. You see, according to a groundbreaking study published in the American Journal of Psychiatry, alcohol addiction has nothing to do with willpower, nothing to do with the amount you drink, your genetics, or your environment. Actually, it's the complete opposite. You see, hidden deep inside your brain is an ancient survival system that's been keeping humans alive for millions of years, called the limbic system, or more commonly known as the fight or flight survival system. This system operates completely below your conscious awareness, constantly scanning for threats to your emotional and physical safety. And when it detects danger, it instantly triggers automatic responses designed to protect you. But here's where things begin to go haywire. Your brain's survival system was designed to protect you from physical threats, but it responds the same way to emotional threats. So when you experience pain, whether it's a major event like heartbreak, loss, or trauma, or just the relentless pressure of deadlines, expectations, and self-doubt, your brain logs it as a threat to your safety. And when alcohol brings you relief, even temporary relief, your survival brain files this away as critical survival information. Alcohol equals emotional safety. I must remember this. This creates what neuroscientists call state-dependent learning, where your brain permanently fuses an emotional state like stress or loneliness with a behavioral escape like drinking, and embeds it so deeply into your neural pathways that it becomes as automatic as breathing. Think of it like this. Imagine your brain is a sophisticated computer system that's been programmed with one overriding command. Keep this person alive at all costs. So when emotional pain strikes, your brain's survival program immediately searches its database, finds the file labeled alcohol equals emotional survival, and floods your system with urgent chemical signals. Cortisol, adrenaline, dopamine, all screaming the same message. Get alcohol now or you will not survive this emotional threat. And this happens in milliseconds before your rational mind even knows what's happening. In other words, every time you feel stressed, lonely, overwhelmed, or even celebratory, your survival brain treats it like a code red emergency and demands immediate alcohol intervention. Because as far as your subconscious is concerned, your survival depends on it. All that to say, you're not just fighting alcohol, you're fighting millions of years of human survival programming. The problem isn't the alcohol, it's the broken emotional programming in your subconscious mind. When I realized this, everything clicked. Why my family member could be so disciplined in every other area of life but couldn't resist that evening drink. Why therapy helped them understand their patterns but didn't actually change them. Why rehab worked temporarily, but the cravings always came back stronger than before. So I became obsessed. I dove deeper into the research on neuroplasticity. I invested tens of thousands of dollars and I traveled across the globe, studying under leading experts in hypnotherapy, regression therapy, NLP. I completed over 500 hours of intensive training in rapid transformational therapy, where I was personally mentored by Marissa Peer, whose clients include Olympic athletes, Fortune 500 CEOs, and royalty. And piece by piece, I began developing targeted interventions that worked to rewire the survival brain instead of just managing the symptoms. And when I put it to the test with my family member, the results were incredible. In a single 2-hour session, the constant mental battle with alcohol simply stopped because we unlocked the gatekeeper of the subconscious mind. They didn't white knuckle it, they didn't rely on willpower. The compulsion was just gone. They could walk past the wine aisle without a thought, go to dinner parties where everyone else was drinking without having a drink, and handle the same work stress and family pressures without using alcohol to relax. It was incredible. Fast forward to today, it's been 8 years and they still haven't touched a drink. And since then, I've used this exact method to help over 1,500 people break free from their dependence on alcohol with an incredible 98% success rate. You can see some of their incredible transformations scrolling through the screen right now. And in just a second, I'm going to show you exactly how it works and how you can use it to break free from alcohol dependency in the next 30 days, guaranteed. But first, I want you to know if you've been struggling with unhealthy drinking habits, whether that is daily drinking or binge drinking, and breaking promises to yourself and those that you love, feeling controlled by alcohol instead of in control, and wondering if you'll ever feel normal again, don't worry. It's not your fault. You're not weak, you're not broken, you're not lacking willpower. You see, whenever you try to white knuckle through cravings, it triggers what researchers call the deprivation effect. It's the same ancient mechanism that made our ancestors binge eat before a famine. Your amygdala goes into overdrive, flooding your system with stress hormones, while your prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, goes offline. In other words, your brain is being biochemically hijacked. It starts hoarding the craving, intensifying it, amplifying it, making it 10 times more powerful than before you tried to quit. You're not breaking the pattern, you're feeding it. But here's the frightening part. Traditional therapy and AA meetings actually strengthen the neural pathways that keep you drinking. Think about what happens in those settings. Every time you introduce yourself as an alcoholic, share your drunk stories in detail, relive your worst moments and everyone else's too, or spend months analyzing childhood trauma, you're doing something called neural reinforcement by repeatedly recalling and discussing addiction patterns without introducing new resolutions. You actually strengthen the synaptic connections that encode those behaviors. In other words, you're literally practicing being an addict over and over again. Your brain doesn't know the difference between talking about drinking and actually drinking. The same neural pathways light up. The same emotional patterns get triggered. The same survival programs get reinforced. The treatment itself becomes the problem. And when these approaches inevitably fail, when you relapse despite months of meetings or years of therapy, they tell you it's because you're not ready. You need to surrender more, or you haven't hit bottom yet. This adds another devastating layer of subconscious programming. I'm broken. I'm powerless. Maybe I really can't change. These beliefs get hardwired into your neural networks, creating what psychologists call learned helplessness, where your own mind starts sabotaging every attempt to heal. You've been programmed to expect failure, to anticipate relapse, to believe you'll need meetings forever. But no matter how long it's been since you felt in control, no matter how many times you've tried and failed, no matter how hopeless it feels right now, you can break free from alcohol dependency, because these outdated programs in your subconscious aren't who you are. They're not permanent. They're not your identity. They're simply neural patterns that can be rewritten. And when you can access these programs directly, understand their original purpose, and replace them with empowering new beliefs, something remarkable happens. The compulsion doesn't just reduce, it disappears entirely. So, how exactly do we do that? We use a powerful set of techniques in a specific therapeutic sequence that I've developed and refined over 8 years that surgically identifies, isolates, and rewrites the exact emotional imprints that created your alcohol dependency. It's called RTT, or Rapid Transformational Therapy, that combines CBT, developed at Harvard and Penn, Stanford researched hypnotherapy, and UCL-backed science on neuroplasticity to rapidly rewire deep-seated beliefs using the same memory reconsolidation principles published in leading academic journals like Nature Neuroscience. It works by transporting you directly into your emotional memory archive, then tracing the neural pathways that connect your current triggers to their original emotional source, to access the exact moment your survival brain first learned that alcohol equals emotional safety. This is where we understand in granular detail the root cause of your alcohol dependency. And then we delete those patterns and rewire your subconscious beliefs around alcohol. And if that sounds complicated, think about it like deleting a virus from your computer or pulling a weed out of your garden. We just pull out the drinking pattern from your subconscious, and it's incredibly effective. In just one RTT session, we can make a bigger impact on your drinking than most people experience through years of traditional therapy, because we're not just talking about your problems, we're actually rewiring the program that created them. Take Sebastian, for example, a high-functioning professional who drank heavily every day for decades. He tried AA, therapy, even medical intervention, and nothing worked. But within 3 weeks of starting my program and having his RTT session, he had completely stopped drinking, and he hasn't touched a drink since. So that's the first step, using RTT to eliminate the root cause of the drinking that's buried in your subconscious. But here's the thing. Your brain also has conscious patterns, the daily habits and thoughts that keep you reaching for the bottle. Think of it like this. Your subconscious is the engine that drives your drinking, but your conscious mind is the steering wheel. Even with a new engine, you still need to learn how to drive. So we rebuild how you see yourself. Instead of, I'm someone who drinks too much, we install, I'm someone who doesn't need alcohol. It's like replacing the operating system on your phone. Same device, but completely different software running the show. We teach your nervous system new ways to handle stress using proven breathing techniques and emotional regulation methods. So when pressure hits, instead of reaching for a drink, your brain automatically reaches for these new tools. Like Mark, a traveling executive who was drinking every night. After just 4 weeks, he was handling massive work stress without any alcohol. His wife said it was like getting her husband back, and his productivity actually increased because his brain wasn't foggy from drinking. This is what happens when you fix both levels, the subconscious root and the conscious patterns. You don't just stop drinking, you become someone who genuinely doesn't want to. Just imagine for a moment waking up every morning with a clear head. No shame about what you did the night before. Your family looks at you with respect instead of worry. You're showing up to your job, giving your best and performing well because you're sharp, clear-headed, and completely in control of your drinking. If that sounds good and you're ready to finally get your drinking under control in the next 30 days, guaranteed, click the link below this video and schedule a consultation right now. I'll show you exactly how you can use the subconscious rewiring and conscious reintegration method to break the underlying root cause of your drinking and build a new identity that makes your drinking stop naturally without willpower, meetings, or therapy. And again, I guarantee the results. So if you don't have your drinking under control in the next 30 days, you don't pay. The results are completely guaranteed. But make sure you act now. The longer you keep drinking, the more damage you're doing to your career, your health, your relationships. You can't afford to wait any longer to solve this. You need to act now while you still can. So go ahead, click the button below this video, schedule a consultation, and I'll show you how to finally stop drinking for good in the next 30 days. This has been Sarah Kelt, and thank you so much for watching.